Alright, dudes, welcome back to part 28 of your horror movie recommendations reviewed. Guys, I am so stoked. It's been crazy this week. We've had like minus 50 outside, but today it's slowly going back to normal. We're like back to like minus 15, can actually like walk outside. But yeah, and I've had so much time these past 2 weeks to basically watch tons of movies that you guys have been shouting out as I've been sculpting. So here we go. I'm starting with 3 for today, and that is starting with Dolly Dearest. Thank you very much to Dub from YouTube and Tony Konopka also from YouTube for recommending this. And this was recommendations from the top doll movies YouTube video that I had put out. So this is a movie, guys, you see this is a movie where I remember seeing the cover art when I was younger growing up, and I was too scared to take that little freaking Velcro thing and rent that film. So finally getting to see this movie literally made me so happy. I came downstairs, I set it up, I turned out the lights, I turned it really loud. It's actually streaming for free on YouTube, oddly enough, right now. And this movie is, everybody's like, it's the female Chucky, and I'm like, she's just her own thing, okay? So this movie starts, and it almost feels a bit like The Exorcist, except, yeah, so, like, they're, like, at these, like, ruins in Mexico, and all of a sudden you see this spooky kind of thing come out, and they're just like, oh my god, what is it? And it's like, well, there's an evil entity that basically got released from, like, a Mayan Riviera type tomb, and, well, damn, of course it went into, like, these dolls. But then you're, like, thrown, and, like, you're on, like, the plane with this family, and they're going to Mexico because his dad wants to make all these dolls, so he bought this doll factory, and, right. So he gets there, they got this beautiful home that they're gonna be living in, and the guy shows him his factory, and it's, like, this little shitbox, right? And he's like, what is this? Like, I've just invested all this money and there's nothing in here. And, like, at the back, like, you get to see a bunch of these Dolly Dearest dolls that are actually, like, finished. Otherwise, it's just, like, scraps everywhere. So he kind of has a bit more faith in it, even though he thinks he just got scammed big time. And, like, the little girl's super happy because now she's got this awesome, like, little doll to hang out with. Yeah, this movie's just, it's got, like, this weird family dynamic, and the best part is the mom in it is totally the mom from freaking Pet Sematary. Yeah. So, like, already she's dealt with some serious shit, you know, with Cage and whatnot, and now you have her in this with, like, this little girl who's obviously a little too attached to her doll. Anyways, this movie definitely depicts a doll in a very creepy way. There's a couple of scenes there where, you know, the mom will just be in the house and you hear tuk, 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 and you're like, oh shit. And, like, you'll just see, like, the doll, like, in the mirror, like, not moving. They did really good with that. The story itself, I mean, a bit silly the way it's done, and, like, again, like, the red, like, just that red spooky light to be like, this is Satan going into this doll. I was like, oh, come on. I know there was, like, a generation where computer graphics / like, effects for, you know, TV was, like, a bit whack like that, but I found that kind of funny. But yeah, overall, awesome little movie. Definitely spooky when it comes to dolls. I think you guys are completely right. That should have been on my list. And now it would be on my list because I watched it. So thank you so much for recommending that one. All right, next up, you guys, we're talking about the movie Watchers. And that was recommended by David Campillo. Thank you so much, my dude. So this movie is starring Corey Haim. I have never heard of this movie before. You recommended it. And you said something about dogs, and I was like, oh, dogs sold. Right? So this movie is a really neat concept. You basically have 2 test subjects that get loose from this local testing sciencey lab or whatever. And one of them is like a golden retriever, and the other one you don't really know right away. So, but like these like secret services and government people are going nuts. They're like, we need to catch this. And like you slowly keep hearing like a bit more and more, why are they freaking out over these 2 things being loose? One, it's like the golden retriever is like, they described it super well. It's like one's like the homing bomb and the other one's like the detonator. So it's like you kind of want to send this guy in, and then this guy like ignites it kind of thing in a sense. anyways, what are these like kind of like sci-fi funky movies? So like this golden retriever is super smart though. So it falls in the hands of Corey Haim. He's like in his like truck and he's like, "What the fuck, dog? Like go home." And the dog doesn't want to go home, and like literally he's speaking to the dog, and it's almost like the dog's understanding everything. So it's like really cute. And he like brings it home. And he's like, "Mom, like I got this dog here." It kind of made me feel like I was like watching a movie that was a bit like E.T. and or like E.T. but Terminator 2. Does that make sense? Like there was still a lot of action and it was still a pretty dark subject, but it had that like family fun vibe to it. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe Watchers. Anyways, it was really neat in that sense. The effects were good. And like that's it. It's like you got this cute little cuddly thing, but you also got this giant monster and it's like, well, we gotta get them. Anyways, super good movie. Thank you so much for that one. All right, on to the next. All right, last one for today is going to be VHS99. And that was recommended by Efren Guzman. Efren Guzman runs an awesome podcast, guys, if you haven't listened to it yet, the Atomic Podcast. He was like my first dude I've ever podcasted with in my life. And super cool guy. And yeah, he does all kinds of cool shit. So I'll pop his link down there. Anyways, point is, he told me to watch VHS99, and I did. And what the flip-flop is even? Okay, so I never watched any of the VHS movies prior to this one. So I don't know. I, for some reason, was thinking like the original VHS had to do with like snuff or something and was like handheld. But anyways, I get to this one and you're watching it and it's like, oh, a bunch of punk rockers and they're all like cool and shit goes down and it turns out like they're being like chased by zombies and like a bunch of witches. I'm just like, what the flip-flop is going on in this movie? Like literally. So apparently VHS99 is like a bunch of short movies in one. I didn't know I was getting into that. Are they all like that? Can you guys let me know that? Like, is there one that's just like a movie or are they all kind of like snippets? Anyways, this movie, like they were more fun. It was an entertaining watch, right? I'd say the only one that really, really stuck out to me that like, I was like, it was worth watching just for this. Okay, well, two of them, okay? So number one, there's like a short story in there where there's like a bunch of like teen bitches kind of thing, like Mean Girls, and they're like, oh my god, you want to be part of our sorority? Like, go in this coffin and like stay there because like the spooky girl's gonna come and blah. Anyways, so like they literally bury this girl, but of course it starts raining. They did a really good job at depicting what being buried would be. Not as good as The Gates of Hell, because I love that scene in that movie, but pretty damn good. And it like makes you feel claustrophobic. But again, these like demons come out and like you can clearly see it's like a mask and like bad CGI. So I was like, you were onto something. And then the best one that I really enjoyed in this whole VHS99 thing was you have this mom who's basically getting revenge on this fucking game show host. You guys remember growing up and watching Uh-Oh? Was that a thing? Anyway, it's like kids game shows. Yeah, you know what I'm talking. I know you know what I'm talking about. Like Kids Jeopardy. Anyways, so basically there's this kids game show and the guy's a dick. Nobody ever seems to win. And it's just weird. And you have this girl who's playing and she's like this close to winning. Her fucking leg breaks. And like disgusting. They rewind it. You watch it. Guys, if you have a weak stomach, you're not going to be able to handle that one. But I was like, yeah, each and every time. Like they show it up close. The break is awful. But then what happens is, you know, this girl is and then put in a wheelchair. You have years later, the mom captures the guy. It recreates the set in such a disgusting way. And it's like, now you're going to have to play the game. Or else I'm going to be torturing you. And it's so well done. And literally, like the whole thing is like, oh, you want to win? This genie's going to grant you a wish? And you're just like, what the Anyways, you know what? I can't hate on this movie, but it's not my vibe. But holy hell was that a creative short story in between it all. I was like, all right, you have my attention. Yeah, that was definitely hands down the best thing I saw in a while. Especially, I don't know, it was whack. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me again for another recommendation day. Do not stop slapping down recommendations down below, because again, I am like, it's been so cold out. I can't even like really ventilate properly. So I've just been focused on sculpting. So what's the easiest to do, like thing to do at the same time, is to throw on a movie. So the more the merrier. I'm almost like down the list that you guys gave me already. So slap them down, and I will be seeing you guys soon. If you're subscribed, thank you so much. And if you're not, you'll get on that. Be part of that party. Is it a party? It's a spooky party. It's a spooky horror movie party. Anyways, love you guys. Have a wicked week. Okay, bye.